So in the Middle East, from region to region, you have different schools. So they'll be singing the same prayers, the same hymn, but they might sing it slightly differently. So the melody might be slightly different in some places. Some places, so you have the main schools now are like the school of Turabdin, school of Mardin. Those are in modern day Turkey.
And then Edessa, right?
Edessa.
Is that the one in Aleppo, or is Aleppo different than Edessa?
So I believe Aleppo has its own thing, but now a lot of the School of Edessa adherents also are living in Aleppo and Lebanon and different places. So, and then the Iraqi school, Mosul or Tikrit, that school is kind of its own thing too. And so sometimes schools will sing things like very close to the same, sometimes be like, oh, that's pretty different. So it's really fascinating. And then you have the dissemination of that tradition to India, and then that becomes its own thing. So it's a very, very diverse tradition.
So it's like 5 or 6 traditions within like the broader Syriac world.
Kind of. Yeah, I mean, the base of the system is the same. Like the way that we use 8 modes as the kind of the basis of our liturgical music tradition is essentially the same, but it's just kind of slight variations in how they might sing it. Sometimes like the prayer books, so like our daily prayers for normal periods of the liturgical year outside of Great Lent, you'd call it probably ordinary time. What we call the shahimo, the common or simple daily prayers, or the prayers for the feast days and various other Sundays of the church. Those collections, sometimes like if you go from like a manuscript, handwritten, right, Syriac manuscript in Turabdin or Mardin area in Turkey, and then you compare it to the same book, like the Shagimo or the Fankitho, the book of Sundays and feasts in like Iraq, for example, like, oh, these are different hymns. Like we know this hymn, but this isn't the hymn that we use for this day or that hour of prayer, that office of prayer. So there is a lot of variation. It's quite beautiful. It's very rich. So there's just so much music. And the way that it was learned, again, was using a device. Again, it's not notated. There are primitive notations sometimes you'll see in text, but they more indicate like this is the end of a musical phrase, this is the end of that stanza.